Hi everyone, pleased to vote Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Spillage Village album, Spilligion. This is the sophomore full-length LP of Georgia-based rap collective Spillage Village. With input from Black, Deontay Hitchcock, Earth Gang, Jid, among others, Spillage currently boasts some of the most young, exciting talent in hip-hop's left field right now. This new LP also comes at just the right time because multiple members are fresh off of well-received projects and features. Now, a few of the teasers leading up to this thing sounded pretty good, but given how large of a collective Spillage Village is, I didn't assume every track was going to sound like End of Days and BAPTIZE. I was pretty excited to see how the deep cuts on this thing would play out, but what ended up grabbing my attention is just how far Spillage tries to stretch the themes of religion and spirituality throughout this thing. From the cover looking like a weird take on some extravagant Christian mural, there's a somewhat preachy introduction skit to kick the entire project off to. Then through the rest of the tracks, we have heavy references to Jesus, God, baptisms, psalms, prayer, Mecca, and various bits of Christian mythology. But it's all wrapped in subtly psychedelic production, eccentric rapping, and lots of group singing too. In a way, it sort of sounds like a combo of the Underachievers, Outkast, gospel music, but all that being delivered by a band of hip-hop hippies enjoying their vacation at Christian summer camp. There's a decent amount of diversity among the beats on this thing too, like the dub reggae-influenced effects, rhythms, and bass lines on Mecca, the acoustic guitars and uplifting group of vocals on Psalm Sing, the smooth, low-key, funky trap of Ocean. And let's also not forget the punchy yet smooth jazz rap of Shiva. So with attention-grabbing names, consistent themes, and versatility, Spillage Village has everything you would want out of a collective on paper. But in practice, this project feels like it's missing something a lot of the time. For one, there are some pretty obvious gaps in mic time, talent, and presence between all the members and features, like the Jordan Bryant verse at the finish of End of Days, which is kind of stiff and sticks out for all the wrong reasons. Much of the time, it's Jid and Earth Gang leading the pack on this thing vocally and lyrically, though I'm not entirely sure how well they complement each other here. There's already so much overlap in terms of vocal style in Earth Gang, throwing Jid into the mix doesn't exactly help the issue, especially since lyrically he's not bringing the same level of heat that he was on DiCaprio 2, for example, a lot of the time. Considering how many verses he has on this project, it should be bung-a-da-bung-a-da-bung-a-da-bung-a-da-bung, and yet it's not. And not to single him out, because I don't think he's the only person on this project who's not going the extra mile, which I think is evidenced in the fact that the more I get hit with religious references on this thing, the more apparent it becomes that this whole spirituality narrative feels more like an aesthetic than it is a genuine concept, because it's rare that Jid's or Johnny's or Dot's lyrics come off as deeply pious or anything like that. Still, I do enjoy many of the sentiments on this record around peace, love, family, equality, but the spirituality that anchors it all down comes off like window dressing meant to simply make the music sound more mystical or otherworldly. Keep in mind, I'm not making a commentary here on the religious beliefs of any one person on this record. I'm just saying, as far as the music goes, it's not exactly a religious experience, especially during the album's weakest moments. There is Judas, which features a very rough interpolation of Hit the Road Jack and obnoxious chance verse, a beat that is so off-kilter it's hard to really get a grip of it. Then around the midpoint, there's a lot of vocals, a lot of singing, pig piling on top of each other, but nothing's really taking a strong lead. There is Psalm Sing that I mentioned earlier, which does have some great and respectable group vocals, but the moment Mariba's verses hit the foreground, the track instantaneously turns mild. There is Ocean, which has a painfully sleepy verse from Black right at the kickoff, though I can't just simply single him out on this song because every verse on it is utterly forgettable. Meanwhile, Cupid is an awkward attempt at a musical flirt with these messy, out-of-tune vocal harmonies and chunky rhythms. Johnny's wild first verse is the only thing about the track content-wise that struck me as remotely memorable, and there were even some parts of it that made me kind of wince. No, my bitch don't rock no Fashion Nova. If I ask her, she'll rock the baking soda. She her own woman, man, I can't control her. That's why I love her and bend her over. Ha! Okay. Once more, there were some highlights in the track list here, but they're not entirely perfect and too few in number. Baptize, End of Days, most likely you guys have heard these tracks going into this review, and while I do enjoy both of them, are they the best songs I've ever heard JID or Earthgang attach themselves to? Not necessarily. Plus, both of them feature these unnecessarily drug-out endings that don't really add that much to the song, in my opinion. Then we also have this very sweet and tuneful family cut with JID singing on the hook quite nicely, sparkling acoustic guitars, heavenly group vocals. The whole thing sounds like an idyllic slice of life celebrating love, family, togetherness, weed smoking too. Because why not? The incredibly inspiring verse from Hollywood JB on the back end is really the standout for me. Then we also have the inspired and multi-phased HAPI. The church bells, the pianos, the colorful singing, the vocal switch-offs. There's a lot going on here. There's something so raw and beautiful about it, and I like the unlikely structure to it all too. There's Mariba's low-key spot on the first leg, then this spotlit, stunning, pastoral sung verse from Johnny. It sounds like a transmission from God. Then we have a few verses to end things off with an instrumental switch, a few more verses to end things off, one of which is from Atlanta legend Big Rube. Very moving, thought-provoking, and poetic way to end the track off, and also top off the album a little bit in a way I think Rube ties up a lot of the themes and meaning of the record better than some of the core members of Spillage Village have. Then there's a really quaint acoustic outro with more group singing, which I think is another one of the characteristics of Spillage that kind of makes them stand out, makes them special. But overall, the record itself, a little indifferent toward it. Certainly there's potential here in the future, but I don't know, I just left this thing wanting more, a lot more. Stronger songs, topical focus, more consistent performances, and if religion is going to play a pivotal role in the narrative of Spillage's sound and music, I would love a deeper embrace of the themes that are inspiring that, rather than this endless stream of surface-level references. Feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Spillage Village, Spilligion, forever.